In this video, let's take a look at workflows available in Path, starting with our most basic and work our way up to more advanced. Let's start with the most basic workflow configuration in Path, consisting of two roles, a loan officer role and an operations role. Now, we find this two-role configuration is growing in popularity with our new customers, especially with customers where the users wear a lot of hats. For example, let's say I've got a processor, but they also help with closing or post-closing, or vice versa. No problem. We just set up one role called operations that has access to all of those screens. So that way, when needed, a user in operations can jump into another department and help out very easily. Now, using that same kind of concept, let's say a loan officer wants to be able to jump into a loan and help with processing or closing, post-closing, or maybe even underwriting. Because in that example, we have come across customers that'll tell us, hey, our LO handles the loan from start to finish, including underwriting. So Path can handle that very easily by setting up the LO role with screens for processing, underwriting, closing, and post-closing. Whatever task the LO needs to do, we can turn those screens and tools on for the LO's role. Now, a third flavor would be, let's say, as a customer, you're like, I like having operations for processing and closing and post-closing to share, but our underwriter, we have dedicated underwriters, and they need to be the only ones that can get into a loan and underwrite and decision it. They don't want to share those screens with processing and closing and post-closing, and totally get that. So in that scenario, then we can add a third role, an underwriter role. And the way that workflow would work would be the LO would start off with the loan originating, then it would move into operations for processing, then it would be sent to the underwriter role to underwrite and decision the loan, and then the underwriter would send the loan back to operations to handle closing and post-closing. Now, another flavor would be, let's say that you have a lock desk, or the manager is going to be going in and managing the locks and confirming the locks. No problem. In Path, we can add a fourth role, a lock desk, so that way an LO can enter in the pricing and then send a lock request to the lock desk to go in and confirm the lock. Now, moving into a five-role configuration, and this is more of a traditional workflow, is where you set up a role for every department. So a role for origination, a role for processing, a role for underwriting, a role for closing and funding, a role for post-closing. And of course, you can still set Path up this way, but we've just found as the industry has gotten more competitive and you've had to really leverage everything you can out of all your resources, we're coming across a lot of customers that are in that scenario where they have users wearing multiple hats. And so they like the idea of combining roles in departments into that one operations role that we looked at earlier. But definitely, if you're a medium to larger customer and you have dedicated users in every dedicated department, you're going to find this configuration more attractive where every department gets their own specific role. Then expanding on that would be six roles, where you've got your more traditional setup where every department gets their own role, but you're also going to add a lock desk to that workflow. And then seven roles. So maybe you want to create a role for a disclosure desk, or just another example that's not on the screen. Maybe you want to create a role for a appraisal desk or for compliance or QC. In Path, we can create as many roles as needed. You just let us know, and we can set up those roles and configure the workflow for you. But as you can see, Path can be configured using roles from a very basic two-role setup all the way to a more advanced 7, 8, 9 roles. So yeah, that will conclude this video. Please reach out to me if you have any questions. I'd love to hear from you. Path is absolutely amazing. It can definitely take your business to the next level. But again, reach out to me if you have questions. Thank you.